These toys are not just toys. The monsters of Poppy Playtime Chapter 5 all have a hidden story behind them, and here you're gonna learn all about them. Stretch your hand to the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. These are all the toys from Poppy Playtime Chapter 5 explained. You thought Huggy Wuggy had died after that fall in the first chapter, but you were wrong. The most iconic toy in Poppy Playtime returns in Broken Things more furious and out of control than ever, and he does it in the worst possible way, pounding on the glass that separates you from him as soon as the game begins. Of course, it doesn't take him long to break it, and from that moment on, a brutal chase begins through the deepest corridors of the factory, taking you straight back to the ventilation shaft of Chapter 1. But the most shocking thing about Huggy in this chapter is not his rage, it's what you discover about him. In the well-being area, a machine capable of replaying memories allows you to relive firsthand the experiments he endured, absurd tasks, forced sacrifices, and brainwashing videos over and over again. For the first time, you understand the hell he lived through before becoming the monster he is. And if you pay attention during Chapter 5, a projection of Kissy Missy appears on a screen, and Huggy just suddenly stops, literally just standing there, staring at it, paralyzed, as if something human awakens inside him. Chapter 5 makes it clear that Huggy feels something real for Kissy, and that there is still a trace of humanity left within him. But just when he finally allows himself to be vulnerable, the prototype bursts in and destroys everything, ending both of their lives in a tragic and brutal way. Huggy and Kissy die in their most beautiful and vulnerable moment. If there's one character no one expected who ends up stealing the spotlight, it's Giblet. This small toy with the appearance of a pirate bear, complete with an eye patch and a cane, shows up exactly when he is needed most. In the recycling plant, when one of the Automals is about to finish you off. He saves your life, and from that point on, becomes your guide through the deepest levels of the factory. Giblet is not just any toy. Despite plotting against the prototype, he has not lost his mind. He secretly communicated with Doughy the Doughman and other toys as a part of a resistance against the prototype, and for years, he has had a single goal: to find a way to end him. He is the one who discovers the existence of the negation compound while reviewing classified playtime code documents, the only substance capable of canceling the prototype's regeneration. And he's also the one who outlines the plan to reach the data center and restore the necessary information. His appearance suggests that at some point he was a subject of the prototype's experiments, as the stitches and wounds are very similar to those of the Automals. Despite his deteriorated state, Giblet shows a determination that contrasts with his fragile appearance. He even has a line that perfectly sums up his role in Broken Things.
But everyone has a weakness. This is our chance.
And he truly makes the most of it. Bron, the friendly red dinosaur we had been seeing since the very first chapters of Poppy Playtime, finally appears in his bigger bodies version, and it is one of the saddest images in all of Chapter 5. You find him in the boiler area, relatively destroyed. His battered body has become food for dozens of Automals that devour his insides without mercy. A complete failure as a playtime co-experiment, unable to defend himself and abandoned to his fate in the deepest part of the factory. But inside his mouth, he hides something the player desperately needs: an old grab pack with a red and blue hand. One last involuntary favor from a toy who never had the life he deserved. At last, it is revealed why there are lemons hidden all around the factory. Through a note, it is explained that some mischievous workers hid genetically modified lemons throughout the facilities. Its official name is Limón, and in Chapter 5, it activates an Easter egg featuring a song by YouTuber CG5 called Wrong Side Out. One of the most unsettling details in Lily Lovebraids' dollhouse is her tea party, and among the guests there is one we did not expect: Baby Longlegs, the son of Mommy Longlegs and Daddy Longlegs. Until now, he had only been seen in posters, and this specimen is not alive. But his presence does remind Lily that the player killed his mother, and she offers her condolences.
And I'm so sorry for your loss.
When Giblet introduces you to Chum, you're not quite sure what to think. This fluffy toy, belonging to the same series as Huggy Wuggy and Kissy Missy, has a very particular way of calming children by putting them inside his belly.
It's okay. I'm better. I'm better.
Of course you are. That's what Chum is for. A little safe space for you. Now you just close your eyes and breathe deep. Everything's better when you're with a friend.
In fact, there is a video in the factory where the three of them appear together in an embrace, as if they were the perfect Playtime Co. family. He first appeared in a VHS tape where he captured the scientist Preston Willard, supposedly under the prototype's orders. The intriguing thing about Chum, though, is his double life. Officially, he works for the prototype as one of his minions, but in reality, he is a spy. Alongside Giblet, he is part of the resistance that has spent years trying to find a way to defeat the monster that controls the factory. He only wants kindness, and that makes him an unexpected ally. In fact, there's a key moment where his role as an insider becomes crucial. When the prototype appears looking for Huggy, the player hides inside Chum's belly, and as if that weren't enough, the prototype himself then orders him to guard the data center room, unknowingly sending him straight to the place the group needed to reach. The villain's best unintentional move in the entire saga. If there is one defining toy in this chapter, it is undoubtedly Lily Lovebraids. An articulated doll with long purple braids that she can move at will, using them as weapons or tools. But what is truly disturbing is not what she is, but who she used to be. Lily Lovebraids is actually Miss Gracie, the wellness counselor in charge of the children's well-being in the factory. The same one who appeared in the brainwashing videos. The toys took revenge on her during the Hour of Joy. They attacked her, tortured her, and ultimately turned her into a doll based on one of Playtime Co.'s popular toys. After that, they locked her away for more than 400 days in complete isolation, forgotten by everyone, until she completely lost her mind. Over time, she managed to dig a hole in the wall without anyone noticing. That's how she learned things such as the fact that the player killed Dowie. If you look closely at her room, there is a detail that sends chills down your spine. Resting on her bed is the corpse of her former human body. She keeps it as company, as if it were the only thing left of who she once was. In the game, Lily greets you with an apparently innocent request to prepare a tea party, but everything goes wrong when you discover that she has Poppy and Kissy Missy kidnapped in the basement. What follows is a deadly game of red light, a chaotic chase through her mansion, and a tea party that clearly does not end well. Her ending is as iconic as Dr. Octopus in Spider-Man, although it's pretty impossible to feel much sympathy for the horrible person she was before the factory drove her completely insane. You probably weren't expecting this, but the Pianosaurus appears in Chapter 5. After its brief appearance in Chapter 4, you can see it again by activating the 7 hidden switches scattered around the factory. Once you do, it will show up dancing to its iconic song.
He plays just for us. We join the chorus. P-I-A-A-O-saurus. Playing his scales from his teeth to his tail.
Since Chapter 2, Kissy Missy has been one of the few Playtime Co. monsters who has actually shown signs of humanity. One of the children transformed into an experiment as a bigger body initiative. She fought alongside Poppy to save the rest of the factory's orphans. In Chapter 4, she lost her arm in a fall, and in Broken Things, her condition is even more fragile. When the prototype appears in its full form for the first time and captures Poppy, Kissy reacts without hesitation. She throws herself directly at him to protect both the doll and the player, forcing the prototype to recoil in fear and retreat. A desperate act of bravery that allows the protagonist to escape alive. However, the most heartbreaking moment comes later, when Huggy Wuggy and Kissy Missy reunite after everything they have endured as experiments. For a brief instant, it seems like something human still remains inside the monsters. But then the prototype interrupts the scene and brutally ends both of their lives. Chapter 5 opens with a VHS commercial, The Wrong Side Outimals, one of Playtime Co.'s biggest commercial failures. They were basically reversible plush toys that could be flipped inside out to become a completely different toy. There were up to 7 of them, each with a different name and personality. They were never successful with children, but the prototype saw something in them that no one else did. This idea of turning them inside out is exactly what inspires the prototype to give the factory's broken toys a second life, remaking them in horrifying ways. Some of them ended up horribly deformed, while others were still strong enough to survive. After 4 chapters of lurking in the shadows, showing just a claw or mechanical limb, the prototype finally reveals himself as he truly is. And boy does he not disappoint. His design evokes a grotesque Jack-in-the-Box jester, with remains of other toy monsters incorporated into his body. Both Huggy Wuggy and Kissy Missy's arms, Mommy Longleg's limbs, and even Catnap's body and skeleton are part of his anatomy. He is, quite literally, a monster made of monsters. In one of the audio tapes, it is revealed that the prototype was once a child named Ollie.
She's all you talk about.
Oh, my boy.
You don't get to call me that. Ollie's gone and I'm a test run on the prototype. When you get her back, you'll pick up a hammer just like him. Just like...
Nothing can make things go back to how they used to be, but we could be a family.
But after discovering that Elliot Ludwig was using him as a test prototype to create a better version known as Experiment 1007, better known as Poppy, he began to grow suspicious and develop darker behaviors. But the prototype has a secret that makes him nearly invincible. Inside his body, he contains a restorative gel mixture, the same substance that has been present since the earliest chapters of the saga as Poppy Gel. Thanks to it, he can regenerate from any wound, making him effectively immortal. However, that immortality has a weakness. There is a substance called the negation compound, capable of completely canceling his regeneration, and there is only one person in the entire factory who knows how to create it. The Outimals are the most unfortunate inhabitants of the factory's depths, former classic Playtime Co. plush toys that ended up in the prototype's hands, who then remade them in monstrous ways by turning them inside out and transforming them into abominations. Many of them roam the lower levels completely feral, and the only way to drive them away is with light. Playtime Co.'s most famous doll is also the one who has suffered the most throughout the saga. Documents scattered around the factory reveal that Poppy is actually Experiment 1007, and that she was created after the prototype, and at first, the two experiments had a rather peculiar relationship. Poppy made desperate decisions back in Chapter 4, including blowing up the factory, which left many wondering whether she truly was on the right side. But Broken Things makes it clear that her intentions were always good, even if her methods did not always seem that way. In this chapter, we find her kidnapped by Lily Lovebraids alongside Kissy Missy. The player must figure out how to free them while playing along with Lily's macabre tea party. Just when it seems there might be a moment of relief, the prototype appears in his full form and captures Poppy, cracking part of her head and leaving her severely injured. After the events on the train, the prototype achieves what he has been seeking throughout the entire saga, finally capturing Poppy. The chapter ends with her kidnapped, wounded, and in the hands of her greatest enemy. After 5 chapters, Poppy is in the worst position she has ever been. Now, Dr. Harley Sawyer is not a toy, he is something else entirely, an artificial intelligence trapped within Playtime Co. systems. In Chapter 4, we learn that his superiors punished him by forcibly uploading his mind into the factory's computers, turning him into a kind of digital prisoner. He died in Chapter 4, or at least that's what it seemed. But now in Chapter 5, when the player reaches the data center following Giblet's instructions and restores a backup, the one who appears on screen is none other than Sawyer. Somehow his mind survived in the backup database, and now he returns with information that could save everyone. Because the doctor knows the prototype better than anyone, he supervised the Bigger Bodies initiative, created most of the factory's monsters, and knows exactly how the prototype's regeneration works. And most importantly, he's the only one who knows the negation compound, the substance capable of nullifying that immortality. Keep learning more about the Poppy Playtime universe with the videos we're leaving here. And don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with everything about Poppy Playtime. Thanks for watching, see you next time!